Hey, good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope you have had a great weekend. I know I am late tonight, but I've been doing a lot of stuff around here to prep for next week, which is what I want to talk about tonight. Because the only way we can be successful in what we're doing and what we want to do is if we plan, right? Failure to plan is planning to fail, right? So I have been this evening, I was on some calls and running some leadership training calls. And then I've been prepping for my next week to set us up, to set myself up and my kids up and my family up for success this next week. And so I wanted to ask you, while we're here, what do you do? How do you prep for the next week to set yourself up for success? Are you someone who meal plans and cooks a whole bunch on Sundays so that you have, stuff set aside? Do you grocery shop ahead of time so that you are all set for the week? Do you get your clothes laid out? What kinds of things do you do to prep for the week? Or do you just fly by the seat of your pants? Because there are a lot of people out there also that just sort of fly by the seat of their pants and don't do any prep and they do great with it that way. And I would love to hear which camp you fall into. For that. Are you a planner? Are you an organizer? Or are you just a go with the flow kind of person? I can tell you, hey, Francie, I can see you're on, and hey, Lauren. I am oftentimes just a go with the flow kind of person, right? I have never been someone who has meal prepped at the beginning of the week. That just hasn't been my thing. I like to think that I could, right? I like to think about it. I like to mull that idea over my head, but it just never really happens. But this week, I am like on the ball and getting prepped and getting ready because once again, I will be heading back out of town. I've been out of town more than I've been in town this month. It seems kind of crazy, right? We spent the first 10 days, we spent 11 days down in Orlando with family, with the kids, right? And then we came back and I've been home for a little while and we head out again later this week to go back down. I'm going back down to Orlando this week for a conference. And so this time my kids aren't coming with us. And so I have to prep, I have to plan, I have to be organized because if I'm not, then everything will run out, so you're a planner mostly, but sometimes fly by the seat of your pants. Okay, so that's good. I'm a planner in some ways, but I like to fly by the seat of my pants. But this week we've really got a plan, right? We have somebody who's staying here with the kids, and so we have to have everything set up. Like, right, we already have meals prepped for them. Which I am never the ahead of the week meal prepper, but we already have meals prepped for them. When I travel with my own food. So I have that's already been made. My husband was out grilling our chicken for tonight for us to pack in the cooler, right? I've been hard boiling eggs, making all the things that I need to have prepped and ready so that I can take it with me so I can set myself up for success this week, set my kids up for success this week because that's a big deal. Right? I have one daughter who really is a prepper and a planner. I don't know where she got it from because that's not for me. In so many other ways, she is my mini me. The prepping and the planning is just, I don't know where that came from. Actually, I do. It came from her father's side of the family. My mother-in-law is very much a prepper and a planner. So that's where she gets that from, right? But so they're going to a camp that's different this week than they normally have been going to. So she said, Mommy, you have to print off the list. I have to know what we need, right? So we printed off the list and she was like, looking through each day, what do they need each day? And, already packed her stuff. And, then my other daughter went and made a photocopy of it. So each one of them would have the list in their own room so that they could prep and plan every night, which so not me, right? Usually we're running around the house in the mornings, gathering our stuff together. Who's going to have it ready for camp? But, I'm glad my kids are on this for this week, but it's really, really important to set yourself up for success, right? If you can fly by the seat of your pants and do really well with it, which when I'm home, I can, right? Because a lot of my routine in my week is exactly the same. Though summer has been hard for me this summer because my routine hasn't been the same. My kids have been at different places every week. We've been traveling, we've been doing things. So it's definitely had me off my game. But when I'm in a routine, I don't need to prep and plan. Right? It's already sort of done for me. I'm very much a creature of habit. I eat the same things during the day. I have the same routine, right? My Mondays are pretty much the same every week. My Tuesdays are pretty much the same every week. And I live by my calendar. But on weeks like this week, where everything is going to be different, right? I'm leaving town. I have to prep my kids. I have to make sure everybody's set. I have to make sure that they're packed. I have to make sure that I'm packed, right? And I'm heading down to a conference with a team of 25, 26 people, right? That also I have to make sure I'm prepped and ready to be able to be with them and lead them and do what needs to be done, right? So I have to prep and I have to plan. Otherwise, I'm going to get to the end of the week and it's just going to all run amok and I'm going to feel really icky. Right. And so this comes to a lot of times I talk about this on Fridays, right? I talk about closing your eyes and envision where you want to be when the weekend is over, right? And what are you going to do? What are those steps that you're going to take? Well, it's the same thing for me right now, right? I have to say, okay, where do I want to be when I get off that plane on the way home next Sunday night? How do I want my week to play out, right? How many times do I want my kids to call me and tell me, like, melting down and having an issue? Not many, right? May happen. It's the reality. It may happen. I have 3 kids, right? But I want to prep and plan and set up as much so that I can set them up for success, right? I need to set myself up for as much success to be able to stay on my food plan while I'm gone, right? Because if I don't plan that, this week will run amok and I will come home at the end of the week and I will feel gross and disgusting from traveling and not being on my plan, right? So all of those things are so, so important. And I don't know how many of you are traveling the rest of this summer, but what do you do before you go to travel? Are you a prepper and a planner? Are you a packer way in advance? That is not me, right? I will be packing probably tomorrow night to get on a flight Tuesday morning, right? But, and I was out shopping today for a dress to wear on next Saturday night. Next Saturday night's banquet when I walk across the stage as a global director, right? So I am definitely not a prepper and a planner. But I know that for success, sometimes I have to be. Sometimes I have to step outside of my normal comfort zone and make myself a prepper and a planner or do whatever I need to do so that at the end I can feel really good about it. And I think that that's the lesson here, right? Is really sometimes we have to do things a little bit differently in order to be successful. Sometimes we have to stretch ourselves and learn from other people and follow in the footsteps of other people who do things a little bit differently in order to be successful. And sometimes it's really hard, right? Because we fall into our old routines, we fall into our old patterns, but that's how we bring change into our life. We bring change into our life when we're willing to take a step back and say, maybe the way I normally do things isn't the best way, right? I can recognize it. I can recognize that flying by the seat of my pants and probably staying up all night tomorrow night to get everything ready would not be the best choice, right? I know that. So yes, I'm up later tonight. It's already midnight, but I've got a lot of stuff done. Like I said, our chicken is already grilled. The kids' lunches for the next few days are already prepped and planned and made, right? Wow. So that when the person who's staying with them is here, all she has to do is grab the stuff and give them their lunches in the mornings, right? So that's outside of my normal comfort zone, but it's setting us up for success. So really, and that's the key to everything, right? Figure out what your routine is, but you might have to change it sometimes, and you might have to change old bad habits to make things better. Because I know that this week is going to be awesome for us because I've stepped outside of my comfort zone and done what isn't normally my normal routine in order to do that. It's like I said, it's kind of weird for me. It's kind of outside my comfort zone. It was strange to open the refrigerator and see their lunches already ready, right? But it feels really, really, really good also, right? It relieves some of that stress that would be sitting on my shoulders of, oh my gosh, how am I going to get all this done in the next 24 hours, right? Tomorrow, because that's what I would have been feeling all day tomorrow. How is this all going to happen, right? But so much of that is off my shoulders. I still have some things that I have to do. I still have some things that I have to prep, but not like I normally would be going into a vacation, or into a trip. So hopefully tomorrow night, I will not be on here at midnight tomorrow night going live because I've been up doing all kinds of things. My goal is to be packed by tomorrow afternoon. So I will come on when I come on tomorrow night to go live. I will be totally packed. That is my commitment to you guys. I'm going to come on and I'm going to say that I am totally packed and everything is ready. Like the only thing that I need to do is that morning before we go catch our flight is put together the cooler because I can't do that the night before. But my suitcase is going to be packed. My clothes are going to be packed, all laid out. Everything's going to be done, which is not my normal, right? My normal would be that it would be this time tomorrow night that I would be packing for the flight the next morning, right? That's not going to happen. So I really want to challenge you. What is it? What is something that you can do that's outside of your comfort zone, that is not your normal thing, that you know that if you make that change, things are going to be better for you, right? Things are going to go further. That's what my challenge is to you for this week. Plan out this week. Where do you want to be at the end of the week on Friday, whether you're traveling or not traveling, right? Where do you want to be if you're on a weight loss plan, in your weight loss plan? Where do you want to be with your work? Where do you want to be with your family? What can you do this week that is different than what you normally do? They can set yourself up for success in ways that you've never had before, because we all have those things every single week and everything that we do, right? We always have ways that we can do things better. I don't know about you, but I know that I and many people that I work with, right? We push, and then we find where we're sort of stable, right? The safe zone, doing exactly what we need to do to get by. To do what we need to do. We all fall into that rut. So one of the things that I love to do is I love to challenge myself. Okay, what is that place? Where am I? Right? How am I going to step it up? Right? How am I going to push myself outside of my comfort zone so that I can be more successful that week, right? I don't want to just coast by, because what happens when we just coast by in anything is we then start to drop off and we then start to fall into old bad habits, right? That's why in my program, right, when I coach somebody to get healthy, I don't just coach them through the weight loss phase, right? I continue to coach them afterwards into what we call optimization, and we don't even call it maintenance, because when you're maintaining, you automatically drop off at some point. Optimization means we're continuing to get better. We're continuing to push ourselves outside of that comfort zone, outside of our normal habits, our normal boundaries, so that we can improve upon ourselves, because we all have places in everything that we do where we can continue to improve. And that's what, for me, I'm looking at, okay, right, how often do I travel? I travel a lot. And each time I go and I say, okay, I'm going to do it better the next time. I'm going to do it better the next time. And you know what? When we went to Florida for 11 days last time, I really did do it better. I really had stuff packed differently, and I really was prepped. I ended up being up way too late that night. I ended up not actually going to bed the night before. But I did a lot of things differently that improved upon things and made our trip much smoother. So now I'm taking from what I learned from last time, right, from the last trip that we just did, and I'm going to even step it up a notch, right? I'm going to continue to optimize that plan so that tomorrow night I don't have to be up all night. Right? I don't have to hit Disney on Tuesday, because yes, we are going back to Disney. I don't have to hit Disney on Tuesday on 0 sleep like I did when we went in the end of June, right? And I got off the plane with my kids, and I was literally running the first day at Disney on no sleep, right? That's not my intention. My intention is to get a good night's sleep tomorrow night, right? To fly there, to get off that plane and head to the parks and be well rested, because I don't want to do that again. That was exhausting, right? And I know I've got a busy week. I got 2 days at the parks, and then I have 4 days at an awesome conference where I'm going to be learning and growing and stretching so that I can bring all this stuff back to you guys and help you become better people, right? So I got to go into this fresh-headed. With a fresh head, with a clear mind, right? Which means I have to stay on top of my game, which means I got to prep properly. So I just wanted to throw that out to you. Really, my challenge to you is plan. What is your plan for this week? How are you going to be successful this week in ways that you're not normally successful? Sit down, take a few minutes to write that out, to think through it. Make your plan, and then share it with somebody, because the best way to make sure that you do it is sharing it with somebody. I get on a call every single morning with a whole crew of people where we set our intentions for the day. We share our intentions for the day, and it's so powerful. And we were actually having a call about this tonight, and people that are on this call were relating this, that, hey, Amy, that we were sharing tonight how powerful this is, because people will set an intention for the day and they'll get close to the end of the day and realize they haven't finished it. But because they set their intention with a whole group of people, right, with other people, they then follow through with what they commit to, which is why I'm setting my intention here that tomorrow night when I come live, and it will not be midnight, it will be before midnight tomorrow night, that I will be totally packed and totally ready for this awesome vacation / conference that I'm headed to. So on that note, I'm going to go to bed because I'm exhausted and I have done a lot of prep work here tonight and I am ready for bed. So I'm going to say goodnight and I will be back here tomorrow and I will report back to the fact that I will be totally packed and everything will be ready. All the food will be cooked. Everything will be done. And hopefully you guys will reach out and let me know what your intentions are, how you plan to step outside of your comfort zone this week. Have a great day or a great night and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.